It's the calm before the storm. Tomorrow will paint a very different picture. 20 teams facing one of this country's most gruelling endurance challenges. Sailing 317 nautical miles around the rugged east coast of Tasmania, fuelled only by the winds of the roaring 40s. Throw in 3 consecutive marathon mountain runs, a distance of over 130 kilometres, and you have the ingredients for an epic battle. A test of will as much as it is a test of skill. The competitors, well, they'd have it no other way. Welcome to the 1999 Examiner Three Peaks race.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a Good Friday tradition built up over more than a decade. The Tamar River comes to life to farewell the boats as the gun sounds and start another torturous Three Peaks race. The concept owes its origins to a Welsh seaman and mountaineer, Major Bill Tillman, who devised the idea of combining a sailing and running challenge covering the British Isles 22 years ago. In 1989, that format was applied to Tasmania, and as they say, the rest is history. To break it down to its simplest form, the race requires teams of 5 to sail to Flinders Island. 2 members of the team must then scale the island's highest peak, Mount Strzelecki. It's then on down the east coast of Tasmania to Coles Bay and another mountain run. Finally to Hobart through the often treacherous seas at the bottom of Australia's most southern state. The final hurdle, Mount Wellington, standing like a silent sentinel between the water and Three Peaks glory. It's not easy, but then again it was never meant to be. In '99, 20 boats lined up to face the challenge, among them 2 times winner and race favourite John Saul's Computerland. The Inglis-designed 47-footer consistently the fastest boat in recent years. On board, the tried and trusted running pair of Jerry Oldfield and Victorian Andrew Cromar. Computerland wouldn't have it all her own way. The Edmonds brothers, Richard and Nick, skipper identical Radford 14s. Richard aboard Flinders Island Community, Nick on the instantly recognisable Haphazard. Both have competed in every race, both are former winners. Another boat pressing for outright victory, the Robin Chamberlain skippered Hog's Breath Icecat. Having just returned from a trip to Antarctica, the durability of the boat is beyond question. Gun runner Tim Sloan is teamed with Nigel Aylett and the Big Cat, one to watch in '99. One notable absence from this year's fleet, last year's winner Bruce Guy, the veteran of all 10 previous Three Peaks races, tragically lost his life in the disaster-struck Sydney-Hobart race. The team number 1 would not be allocated this year as a mark of respect to one of Tasmania's most respected and admired gentleman racers. Bruce's nephew Tony Guy, campaigning his tiny 30-foot converted Diamond, would carry the reigning kings of the mountain, Scots Helen Diamatides and Adrian Davis. In light conditions, the little boat would pose a real threat. It's a condition of Three Peaks racing that, should the elements not play their part, yachts may be rowed or propelled by human-driven propellers. It's a feature of the race loved by the spectators, loathed by those forced to do it. As the start approached, the prospect of little wind seemed likely. The laconic Richard Edmonds could only ponder what lay ahead for those on board Flinders Island Community.
I'm sitting here thinking that I should have perhaps ridden a bike a bit more. It's not looking very as if there's going to be much wind.
Light wind opens the race up, the bigger, faster boats unable to press their advantage.
It sort of evens the field up a lot. It brings the smaller boats up because they're much easier to sail in lighter conditions.
But for the smallest boat in the fleet, the 8.5 metre trimaran Jabsco, that wasn't necessarily the case.
Very light stuff doesn't ideally suit us, but the middle of the range, the 12 to 25 bracket would be lovely.
OK, so 12 knots, you think you can surprise a few in the field?
Oh, I don't know whether we'll surprise them, but we won't be too far behind them.
The lure of the Three Peaks race is understandable for the sailors. It incorporates a visit to 3 of the most beautiful ports in the state. For the runners, however, it's difficult to explain the grip this race has on them.
Yeah, it does, because you know how much you hurt at the end of it. But it's a bit like childbirth, probably. You forget about it and you think, oh yeah, I can do that.
Just before the start, the competitors take part in a traditional sail past, giving the 10,000-strong crowd the chance for a close-up inspection. The team from Just Envelopes doing their best to repay the sponsors. At 2 p.m. sharp, the 200-year-old cannon announces in no uncertain terms the Three Peaks race for 1999 is underway. To the relief of skippers and crews, the winds came to the party and there was a perfect breeze to carry boats out of the river. With hundreds of spectator craft of all sizes and the magnificent yachts under full sail, the run to the mouth of the Tamer is one of the most spectacular sights on the sporting calendar. The coveted title of first out of the river went to Computerland. Skipper John Saul making his way through the traffic unscathed.
We thought we were a bit boxed in against the wharf, but a few others tacked away from us, giving us a bit of a hole to get away. But obviously the Edmonds brothers kept poking it into us all the way out. Made for a good contact.
Following close behind Computerland into Bass Strait, Flinders Island Community, Haphazard and Peter Hesketh's maintenance systems. But with a failing breeze and fluctuating tides, the night ahead looked like a long one.
Oh, can't complain at all. Out of the river cleanly, but as you can see for yourself, it's pretty dozy out here. I think we'll be doing a bit of bike work tonight.
The first leg of the race involves a 90 nautical mile sailing stage to Lady Barron on Flinders Island, and then the longest run of the race, 65 kilometres, a combination of long, straight, dusty gravel roads and windy, narrow bush tracks. The centrepiece, a 756-metre granite monument called Mount Strzelecki. It presents a challenge to even the most seasoned long-distance athlete. At the 5 a.m. radio sked, it was becoming clear that this leg would be a slow one. Most of the boats only just over halfway. The two exceptions, New Horizons and Royal Oak Rona H, entrants in the newly devised Classics division. Under race rules, Classics are allowed to use their engines. It's a decided advantage when there's no wind. First to appear out of the pre-dawn gloom, New Horizons, the big schooner tying up just before 6 a.m. The bonus for rookie runners Ian Meikle and Sandra Silberberg, able to see what's ahead, even though it's a daunting prospect.
It certainly is, but well, I've got Ian to look after me and Tommy and the rest, so we'll be right. We're out to complete, not compete, so yeah, so that's our challenge this year, to get round all in one piece.
Next in, the other Classic entrant, Bruce Potter's lovingly restored Royal Oak Rona H. Their runners, Olivia Norris and Ruth Prenter, also tackling the Three Peaks for the first time. Out on the water, the real contenders were doing it tough. Computerland with a clear lead, but it was slow going.
We were lucky, just enough breeze to keep us off the bikes during the night. We've given the shorts a bit of a workout this morning, but apart from that, coping well with the pressure.
Dicing for second, Flinders Island Community and Maintenance Systems. Pedal power giving at least some headway in the still air.
About 1.5, 2 knots, a couple of knots.
What about last night?
We've probably averaged 3 or 4 knots, so we had to tack all the way. The headwind.
Well, you're fairly clearly in second, I suppose, so things could be worse.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the fact that we're still inside a Computerland, we're happy.
Maintenance Systems had done well, sailing further north than most of the fleet, but still the going was painfully slow. It's over 24 hours since the Three Peaks race began, and still the lead boat, Computerland, has over 25 miles to go to get to Lady Barron. The rest of the fleet, well, they're out there somewhere. Tonight presents the daunting prospect for runners tackling the Mount Strzelecki leg at night. Back on land, the girls from Royal Oak Rona H had surprised themselves, covering all of the gruelling 65k mountain trek.
Well, we did more than we expected, so yeah, we're pleased that we did as much as we did. We've achieved more than we thought we would.
The Franklin Sound at Lady Barron is a nightmare for yachtsmen. Shallow water, a narrow channel and fierce tides make it a difficult proposition at the best of times. A falling tide will suck you in, an incoming tide will take you backward. Computerland, the only boat to catch the welcome wave of gravity. Runners Oldfield and Cromar under strict instructions from the skipper as the light began to fade.
I think our main thinking at the moment is to get through this round run and be back here by midnight for the outgoing tide? Yeah.
The pair surprisingly upbeat about the impending night run.
Oh, pretty good conditions. It looks like we're going to get a full moon, and it looks like the weather's going to be nice for us. I think we'll have a good run tonight, you know.
So you'd say ideal conditions?
Ideal, perfect at the moment. There's no wind, and if that full moon comes out, yeah.
Next boat in, the smallest monohull in the fleet, Tony Guy Constructions. The crew rowing for hour after agonising hour against the flooding tide. The Scots out to make up lost ground, full of praise for the crew.
It was absolutely amazing. We rowed past everybody who'd been moored outside waiting for the tide to change. And they decided they weren't going to wait for the tide to change. And they just kept rowing. It was impressive. Glad it wasn't me doing it.
Using her shallow draft to full advantage, Hog's Breath Icecat tiptoed into Lady Baron third. Tim Sloan and Nigel Aylett relieved, finally reaching terra firma.
Well, we thought, you know, we'd always be thinking for about the last sort of half day that we'd be running the next half hour. And it's taken a bit longer than, than we thought to get here. So
you got a good wind coming into the channel and then it really slowed down. So
and we found a little bit of sand as well out there.
Yeah, so we got stuck for an hour and a half.
Their words prophetic as they prepared for the run.
It's going to be certainly a long race, I think, this one.
Irish runners Francis Cosgrave and Martin McDonald from Ken Goulet's Modern Living Carpet Court set a blistering pace up the mountain, but the Three Peaks cares little for reputations. As night turned to day, the agony of every step visible. McDonald had hit the wall, every muscle in his body screaming to stop, his iron will forcing him to go on. Computerland had slipped away during the night, Tony Guy Constructions narrowly holding down second from Hog's Breath Icecat. Following the top three, maintenance systems, underwater video systems, Flinders Island Community, Modern Living and Haphazard. All had spent valuable time aground or anchored on the approach to Lady Baron. In the decade or so that they've been running this race, the record for the slowest crossing from Beauty Point to here at Lady Baron on Flinders Island was something like 18 hours. This year it took the fastest boat 28 hours. But the news is not all bad for the Oddies. There's something in the air. Wind. The second stage of the race sees boats tackling the longest sailing leg, 145 nautical miles down the east coast to Coles Bay. The run is 33 kilometres, a loop around the Freycinet Peninsula, incorporating two mountains, Mount Graham and Mount Freycinet. For the average bushwalker, it's a two-day proposition. For the peakers, 5 hours is a good run. Classic New Horizons was first in again, using her engines to good advantage, the runners setting off on what was to become an extended journey. Of the main fleet, Computerland was first in to the holiday mecca, arriving at 8:30. Out on the track, Oldfield and Cromar playing the percentages.
Oh, it's sort of taken fairly easy, it's fairly dangerous through this terrain, you know. So we'll be looking at just nursing ourselves through it, you know.
On the boat, John Saul told of an unexpected brush with nature.
I suppose the only other little drama we had, we did give a pilot whale a bit of a nudge off Eddiston there, but nothing more drastic than hitting the marina with a miss of judgment, so Ross told me.
Computerland had lost ground to the chasing pack on the sailing leg. Hog's Breath Icecat, the second boat in, she'd overtaken Tony Guy Constructions and reeled in 3 hours from the leader. For the sail to Hobart, Saul must now decide whether to take the longer but safer route around Tasman Island or run the gauntlet through the notoriously unfriendly Dunalley Canal.
I think we've got to take the safe option. No, we can't take too many risks with Dunalley Canal. We've got to hope that Buffalo Girls around the outside will get us out of trouble again.
The big mover was the ever-reliable Nick Edmonds Haphazard. The fastest sailing leg had moved her from 8th to 3rd. Only 15 minutes now separated the Edmonds brothers, with Richard on Flinders Island Community lying 4th. Tony Guy Constructions had dropped back to 5th, powerless as the bigger boats reeled them in. A pleasant sail, nevertheless.
Oh, it was superb, yeah. We had just very quiet, we had about 10 knots on the beam from the east, so we had the big asymmetrical kite on, and the worst part about it was all the guys from behind brought all the wind with them.
They still had one ace to play, however. The Scots, Diamatides and Davis regained the form which won them Kings of the Mountain last year. They blitzed the field, covering the distance in 4 hours 42 minutes, making up more than an hour on the teams in front. For Hog's Breath Icecat, the problem compounded, Sloan and Aylett taking a wrong turn in the dark and becoming lost. the detour costing them a further hour. Computerland led the fleet out of Coles Bay, 4 hours between her and second place Hog's Breath Icecat, and thanks to the brilliant run by the Scots, Tony Guy Constructions was back up to third. Aboard Computerland, John Saul was only worried about one challenger.
I think Tony's a bit too far behind, but Icecat could look very tricky. If she can get through Dunalley Canal cleanly, then we're in trouble, big trouble.
As the morning drew on, there was still no sign of New Horizons runners Ian Meikle and James Polson. The pair had been on the track for more than 18 hours when they finally emerged out of the bush. They'd become lost on Mount Graham and made the sensible decision to camp out as night fell.
When it got real dark up there.
Yeah, we didn't have watches or anything with us, so yeah. We got to a spot that we'd seen a couple of times before and we thought, yeah, this looks good. Used practically everything in our backpacks, except for the pencil. The only reason I didn't use that, didn't have anything to leave on my wheel.
The tired and hungry pair in good spirits despite the wet night out.
Yeah, you know, I thought after 65k yesterday, 35 didn't seem enough, so you know, I thought, get James lost and we'll do a few extra. I was sick of the bloke tucking on the boat, so I thought we'd play a bit tonight.
The lead in the legs, betraying the good humour. Coming up, the race to the finish. The run to the finish involves a choice for skippers: take the long way around Tasman Island through the deep but often tempestuous waters, or try your luck with the Denison Canal at Dunalley. It's a loaded question. Last year a 50-knot gale whipped up seas that damaged Computerland and robbed John Saul of a third successive victory. In previous years the canal route has been equally unforgiving. Yachts washed aground, powerless against the wind and tide. The final run, 30 kilometres up the Hobart landmark Mount Wellington, a vertical ascent of 1,270 metres. The deep draft of Computerland forced Saul to once again take the long way home. To have any chance of catching the leader, Hog's Breath took the chance on Dunalley. The two lead boats into the Derwent unscathed. It would now be a race to the line. The finish this year moved back to Sullivan's Cove, the centre of Hobart's picturesque waterfront. With both skippers being coy about their positions on regular radio skeds, the awaiting crowd at Elizabeth Street Pier were in the dark as much as the boats were. Finally, it was Computerland that emerged from the darkness, the skill of John Saul and crew winning the battle. The previous two times Saul has won the race, crewman Peter Fletcher has run one of the legs. Not wishing to break the tradition, Fletch took the place of Andrew Cromar for the final hurdle. If they stayed healthy, the race was theirs. Hog's Breath Icecat docked 3 hours later. Falling winds had ended her chances. Runners Sloane and Aylett, no chance of making up the time unless disaster struck. It wasn't to be. Just before 1 a.m. Monday morning, 3 days, 10 hours and 45 minutes after it began, the 1999 Examiner Three Peaks race had a winner. And to the victors go the spoils.
So you won the glory.
That's for making me run so hard.
Jerry, after a short run, would you like a glass of champagne?
It was John Saul's third win in the race, that in itself a record, but typically there was no boasting from the quietly spoken doctor.
Well, chance favours those most prepared. The more you're in the front, the more you get the chance of the breaks to get ahead, true, but straight out we were lucky. Yeah, we got a good run into Flinders, we got a good run out. You don't get that sort of run every year. It was a gift run for us. Set up a lead that couldn't be broken.
On the track, Oldfield and Fletcher didn't have the luxury of taking it easy.
Still weren't quite sure where the cat was though. Was looking out here, kitty, but couldn't find him. So.
The second place skipper Robin Chamberlain, Three Peaks racing is its own reward. 4 times victory has eluded him, but just finishing this race brings its own satisfaction.
Oh, very much so. I don't think there's anything like it. The amount of effort you've got to put in for the sailors as well as the runners, it's so extreme. There's always someone else out there to chase. There's always, and again, it does not matter where you come in the pack. You're always in there fighting. It's a great event.
Third place went to Three Peaks veteran Nick Edmonds haphazard. She'd set the fastest time for the last 2 sailing legs, proving there's plenty of life in the old dog yet. The sentimental favourite, Tony Guy Constructions, placed fourth, a monumental performance from the 30-foot boat. Her runners Helen Diamatides and Adrian Davis keeping the boat in contention with their second successive Kings of the Mountain trophy for the fastest aggregate running time. The Scots quoting their nighttime run at Coles Bay as the crucial leg.
Yeah, we knew that was the key to it for us because we knew we had an advantage. We saw last year what we could do there in the dark when all the other teams were in the dark as well. And because I think we've got more mountain experience in terms of those type of conditions, and also, you know, some of the orienteering skills and just sticking to the path on Freycinet, which is absolutely critical. And we've got a little system worked out, which we're not going to let anybody know about. But we managed to work it out quite well. And we were lucky too, because it turned light just as we were going up Mount Freycinet itself. And so that enabled us to have a really good quick run off.
Flinders Island Community held on for fifth. It had been an up-and-down race for the veteran crew. Underwater video systems was sixth, with maintenance systems seventh. In the Classic division, New Horizons took the win from Royal Oak Rona H, but the girls from Rona H, Ruth Prenter and Olivia Norris, had scored a personal victory. At the beginning of the event, they weren't planning to run the full distance on every leg, but they had met and bested the challenge. As they made their way down Mount Wellington with the finish line approaching, the girls could afford to look back at the past 4 days.
We've done more than we planned to. Yesterday was pretty hard. Yeah. Bad conditions, like raining all the time. And we felt like we lost, but yeah, yesterday was pretty tough.
The Three Peaks race once again provided the challenge, and once again the challenge was answered. Of the 20 starters, 5 had not made the finish, most notably Modern Living Carpet Court with the Irish runners on board. She'd pulled out after the Coles Bay run, both the Irishmen succumbing to injury and fatigue. But there's no shame in that. For those that did finish, it's a lasting testament to their courage, determination and durability. John Saul and his Computerland crew proved their class beyond doubt. The rest of the fleet secure in the knowledge that at 2 p.m. Good Friday in the year 2000, a gun will sound, giving them their chance for Three Peaks victory.